And welcome back to Firelake Arena in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Tonight's fight's brought to you by HB Boxing. I'm Andrew Spino at ringside, joined by former Oklahoma heavyweight champion Darren Humphreys. Darren, here we have junior middleweights, 6 rounds. A couple months ago, you and I sat ringside as Maurice Williams pitched a shutout in a pretty impressive bout. Tonight he's going up against a guy with a lot of experience and a lot of age. 38 years old, Abel Perry, has 28 pro fights compared to Maurice Williams' 4 pro fights. But Maurice Williams was so impressive in that last fight. He's just 24 years old. It seems like on paper this should be a shutout, but Maurice Williams came in 4 pounds overweight for this fight. Darren, what do you make of that?
Sure. Well, the first thing I think of when you tell me that somebody came in 4 pounds overweight is maybe they didn't take the fight real serious. So, but we'll see.
We will see what happens. Let's send it up to our ring announcer, Gerald Whalen.
Ladies and gentlemen in attendance and those watching at home, welcome to your co-main event of the evening. Proudly brought to you by Quantum CBD H2O, the next level in hydration. 6 rounds of boxing scheduled in the junior middleweight division, and this is for the Oklahoma junior middleweight title. Introducing first the challenger, fighting out of the blue corner. He weighed in at an official 152 pounds. His professional record stands at 18 wins with 10 defeats, 9 wins coming by way of knockout. From Bella Vista, Arkansas, ladies and gentlemen, Abel, the Truth Serum Perry. And his opponent from across the ring, fighting out of the red corner. He weighed in at an official 158 pounds. His professional record stands at 3 wins with 1 defeat, 2 wins coming by way of knockout. From Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, ladies and gentlemen, the reigning Oklahoma junior middleweight champion, Maurice the Bounty Hunter Williams. We go to Gerald Ritter for your instructions.
Fighters. Mouthpiece.
This fight scheduled as a junior middleweight bout.
Instructions. Obey my commands. Protect yourself at all times. Both your trunks are good. Touch gloves. Let's get after it.
This scheduled as a junior middleweight bout, but Maurice Williams actually skirting into the middleweight territory, weighing in at 158 pounds for this bout. Let's see what he has. Very strange for him to come in overweight. Darren, what are you expecting?
Yeah, well, you know, with Perry having a lot more experience than Maurice Williams, you would think Maurice Williams would have taken this fight real serious and came in at least at weight. Kind of surprised by that. As we saw back in June, he's certainly a talented fighter. But, you know, he's here up against Abel Perry, who's very, very experienced and been in the ring with the likes of Grady Brewer. And, you know, he has 140 rounds of experience to 13 rounds of Maurice Williams.
Yeah, this guy's seen it all comparatively, and it looks like he found his range pretty quickly with his jab. Perry's keeping that popping right in Williams' face. Williams firing back, but Perry, especially for his age, 38, very elusive and hard to hit, at least here at the beginning of round 1.
Right, and as we talked about, he's got the most experience of the two. You know, Williams, I feel like, needs to get to work. He hadn't thrown very many punches here, and he needs to get that jab going and figure some things out.
Well, you had started to tell us your thoughts on the fact that Williams came in 4 pounds overweight. I thought he looked so terrific in his bout in July at Remington Park in Oklahoma City. I was expecting some pretty good things from him. When you find out a fighter is 4 pounds overweight, maybe there's some conflict with his trainer or his manager. What does that tell you, Darren?
Well, whatever it was, whether it's a conflict with his trainer or whatever it might have been, you have to leave all that stuff out. This is the fight game, and you have to be prepared every time. So,
Williams, go ahead.
I've noticed, you know, Abel here is the one threw a great right hand right there. I think Abel's the one kind of leading this fight, being the aggressor.
Well, he's definitely dictating the pace of the fight, which was pretty much the opposite of his bout in July. What I found Williams so impressive 2 months ago was what a brilliantly effective counterpuncher he was.
Right.
Now, his opponent then was not the caliber that Perry is, certainly didn't have his level of experience, but he's pretty much giving Perry carte blanche to charge in, and he's not making him pay a price for it.
Yeah, you wonder if he's doing that because he's not in shape. Perry just landed some good punches there.
Took some heavy punches behind the ear. Looked like he knocked his equilibrium off a little bit. Beautiful textbook counter right hand over the jab.
Followed up by a good jab.
Very good. And here we have Williams swinging for the fences but not landing at the end of round number 1. Junior middleweights at Firelake Arena. Round 2 next.
Back up.
Here we go, round
Back
2,
up.
getting ready to start. Junior middleweights, Maurice Williams in the red trunks with the black stripe. Abel Perry, silver trunks with the red trim. And Williams looks like he has come out determined to make up for a pretty substandard lackluster performance in round number 1.
Yeah, he is, but he's going to have to come up with something better. I feel like Perry's got the better foot movement, more active. I feel like he's got definitely the more crisp punches, which is something I really wouldn't expect when I looked at this fight on paper. I was kind of with you. I was thinking, after seeing Maurice Williams back in July, that maybe he was going to bring something better to the table tonight, fighting Abel Perry. I was kind of surprised to see him take this fight. Not because I didn't think he could win, but just because of the difference in their experience.
Who did you have winning round number 1?
I had Abel Perry definitely winning that first round.
What has surprised you about Perry? Obviously, we're a little surprised by Williams not giving nearly the performance, at least so far, that he did just 2 months ago. What has surprised you about Abel Perry?
Well, really, like I said, on paper, as good as Maurice Williams looked a few months ago, I'm kind of surprised that Perry, being the smaller guy, coming in at 152 pounds and 154-pound limit, it doesn't look like he has much respect for Maurice Williams' power, to be honest.
And here we are about halfway through round number 2, and you can already see some swelling underneath the eyes of Maurice Williams. He has eaten a bunch of jabs and some solid right hands, some left hands with, Perry's putting hooks on the end of his punches, and they're landing, and you can see it's already taking a toll on Williams' face. And making him look bad in the process.
He is, and that's kind of surprising, as we've talked about from his fight back in July. He looked really good. He was in shape. His punches were crisp. He looked really strong.
There's no doubt he's a talented athlete. Of course, having the gifts and using them well can be two different things. Of course, we're still early in this bout. This is a 6-round fight. We're only in round number 2. A lot can happen, especially when you have this disparity of both experience and age between two fighters.
Right, you notice Maurice Williams is going back and forth from southpaw to orthodox. Oh, good right hand by Abel Perry there.
It's not paying any
Oh, great right hand by Maurice Williams.
Right hand!
Wow.
And Perry takes a seat in his own corner as Williams unloaded a huge right hand that landed flush on the jaw of Perry. Perry is still out of it. He's on Queer Street. His legs are rubbery. I doubt the referee is going to let him continue. However, Williams, leaving the neutral corner, gave him the seconds he needed. 10 seconds left in round number 2. Can Williams close the show? He is behind in this fight. He needs to take this opportunity. He's going for it. But Abel Perry hangs on, finishing out the round. And what a tough round to score, because Perry was so dominant for the first 2 minutes and 40 seconds and then ends up on his seat right at the end of the round, which has got to be heartbreaking for him in this corner. We're looking at the replay now, brought to you by Quantum CBD H2O. And as you can see, Perry
just look at him.
Really dominating this fight on just about every level. Darren, as we watch here, tell us where it turns around.
Well, they kind of got inside, and I felt like Maurice Williams loaded up with a big punch as they were inside, and Perry kind of backed out or circled out with his hands down, and, that's what happens. One punch can change anything.
It's like we were just saying, Williams really is a terrific athlete.
Back up.
When you're on that level,
Coach, you guys,
even
back
though
up.
your head might not be in the right
Back
place,
up,
you're not
man.
fighting to the level that you had before. One good shot turns it all around. Let's see whether Perry was able to clear up the cobwebs in between rounds. We are in round 3 of a scheduled 6-rounder. Junior middleweight at Firelake Arena in Shawnee, Oklahoma.
Well, it definitely looks like Maurice Williams is coming out with more intent this round. But at the same time, I feel like maybe Perry's, he's obviously keeping his hands up a little bit better, working that jab.
He's keeping his hands up. He's not quite as, at least so far, committed to the punches like he was in the first 2 rounds. And Williams seems like he's kind of finding his rhythm. Maybe it was an issue of confidence.
Yeah, you're right. And with it being a 6-round fight, whenever Maurice Williams has, he's only 4 fights into his pro career.
Oh, he landed another right hand just as Perry was starting to turn away from the ropes. I don't think he was expecting that shot. Williams caught him with the right hand, then throws a sloppy overhand right without setting it up at all, allowing Perry to escape back into the center of the ring. It looks like Williams just keeps letting Perry get back into this when he appears to have him in trouble.
Right, and that may be due to the fact that he's maybe not in as good a shape as he should be. 6 rounds is a long time, especially in your young career.
Right, knowing you have to go possibly 6 rounds, you don't want to you don't want to empty the gas tank at the beginning of the 3rd. However, while you're in there, that's why boxing is such a thinking man's sport. You have to make a split-second decision. Is it worth it to take that gamble? Because this opportunity for the knockout may not come back.
Right.
And when you're that far behind on points, that's got to be a tough dilemma that you're trying to decide while taking punches. Not an easy situation. But I think he's finding his range a little better.
For sure, yeah, and he's throwing those punches with a lot more intent at this point. What you don't want to see is for him to punch himself out, because Abel Perry's job is to make this fight go as long as he can, take Maurice Williams into the deeper rounds.
Well, this has been such an interesting round because the momentum is pitched back and forth. Williams coming off that heavy shot that put Perry on the canvas at the end of round 2, really changed the geography of the fight. But Perry shows flashes of getting back in control. Doesn't quite get there, but you can tell he's determined to try.
Sure, and the difference is I think Maurice Williams has a little bit more power. I think obviously Perry's a little more, obviously has more experience, a little more crafty, but Maurice Williams has that power, and you have to respect it.
Very interesting round to score. We are at the end of round 3. Round 4 coming up.
Back on up, baby. Back up yourself.
Welcome back. Round 4, junior middleweights in a scheduled 6-round bout. 38-year-old Abel Perry in the silver trunks with the red trim has Maurice Williams in the red trunks with black trim in serious trouble at certain parts of this fight, but Williams has come back, put Perry down at the end of round 2, and what an interesting round 3. Difficult to score. What I found fascinating about it was how often the momentum changed between the fighters. Darren, how'd you score that one?
That was a tough round to score. I feel like Perry was trying to work his way back into that round. I think Williams obviously showed a lot more confidence, landed the harder shot, so I'd probably go with Maurice Williams in that last round. But if you notice at the beginning of this round, Maurice Williams kind of jumped in the first few seconds. That allowed Abel to circle out and land a great counter shot, which I felt like maybe hurt Maurice Williams a little bit. So I feel like this round, Perry's, throwing those punches with the intent he did in the first round. So.
Yes, but Williams is counter-punching much more effectively than he was in the...
Yeah, he certainly found his range in these last couple of rounds. He looks a lot better throwing everything with power, and he's got speed, too. He looks good. He has a lot of talent, no doubt.
He has talent, but, man, has he been susceptible to that quick whipping jab of Abel Perry. that's finding its mark, I would guess, close to half the time.
Yeah. And you could tell Perry's, trying to set him up now, trying to use Maurice Williams' aggressiveness, against him.
He is. Here we are about halfway through round 4, and Maurice Williams looks tired. His mouth is open.
Yeah.
He's struggling for breath. They're now fighting over us in the blue corner, and Perry clearly in control of this round so far. Although Williams, with his power, with his athleticism, could change that at any given time.
Yeah, he sure can, but as you can see, he's throwing one punch at a time. He's looking for the knockout.
He is.
I think it's probably just a matter of time at this point for Abel to probably pick him apart over the next round or two, and wouldn't surprise me if maybe Perry ends up stopping him late. I think Maurice gets getting a little bit tired.
A few more body shots like that fatigue's going to set in even quicker. Of course, that's dangerous when you start breathing through your mouth. That's how guys get their jaws broken.
You're right, and something that I always try to instill in some young fighters is everybody's strong and tough at first. That's who can continue in the fight and go on. And I think maybe Maurice is maybe learning a little bit of that tonight.
That's what separates a contender from a champion, no question about it. Williams again showing swelling underneath the eye, sneaky left hook, a little check hook coming out of the corner. We're at the end of round 4 of a 6-round bout. Round 5 coming up. Round 5 of 6, junior middleweights fighting here at Firelake Arena in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Tonight's bout's brought to you by HD Boxing. What an interesting fight this has been. Grizzled veteran Abel Perry in the silver trunks with the red trim, taking on the young, strong, very athletic 24-year-old Maurice Williams. Round 4, another strange one to score. Darren, how do you have it on your card?
Well, at this point, I'd probably say the fight's probably even. Maurice Williams obviously made up a couple of rounds with that knockdown, and he's certainly not out of the fight yet. I just feel like, at least as of that last round, Abel was kind of inching away from him and wearing him down. But, Maurice looks good here.
They're both looking pretty sharp, landing heavy shots. Big right hand landed by Maurice Williams. And Abel Perry must have concrete in his chin because he has taken some hard shots from a hard puncher.
Yeah, he has. And he's really concentrating on Maurice's body right now. He's trying to take some of that power away.
But Perry's counter right hand over the jab is textbook, and it's landing beautifully. And it started an ever-increasing mouse underneath Williams' left eye. I doubt that's going to be a factor this late in the fight. We're about halfway through round 5 of the 6-rounder. But certainly a testament to how often Williams is getting tagged, unlike his last fight, in which he was so loose and counterpunched so effectively, despite an opponent who threw a lot of punches at him.
Right, and it's a shame that Maurice Williams didn't come into this fight, maybe a little better prepared, at least make weight, because he's obviously a talented fighter, and, I'd like to see where he's really at against somebody like Abel Perry. He's obviously doing a great job and hanging in there with Perry, but, what could he do if he was in shape? Maybe he would have ended the fight earlier.
Here they are trading heavy shots along the ropes. I think Perry got the better of that exchange. Again, Williams just very intermittently finding his mark. He's throwing what look like impressive punches, but Perry is either slipping them like that, he's blocking very effectively on the inside, and Williams just can't seem to get anything going here. There's that overhand right counter again.
Yeah, I think Maurice Williams at this point is looking for the one punch knockout,
which is a big mistake against a veteran, against a guy with very good head movement and a guy with a solid chin. This is the end of round 5. Your 6th and final round coming up.
Good job. Come here, guys. Catch him up. Back up.
This is our 6th and final round. Junior middleweights. Maurice Williams, the young buck with only 4 pro fights. 24 years old, a heck of an athlete, a powerful puncher. taking on the veteran Abel Perry with 28 pro fights, 38 years old, and back and forth action. Great punches landed by both guys, but what an unusual fight to score. Darren, we were talking in between rounds about round 2, where Perry just absolutely dominated. I think a generous judge could have even given it a 10-8 round, even though he never put Williams down. Then in the last seconds, Williams put Perry on the canvas. That could be scored any number of ways, which makes it difficult to guess what the judges are going to do here.
Right. You know, you could look at it as a 9-9 round. I would probably call it a 10-8 round for Williams. I don't know. I'm just kind of old school in the fact that if you knock somebody down, you win that round. To be honest, I'm kind of impressed with Maurice Williams. I like his heart. He's kind of dug deep these last couple of rounds. He's in there making it a heck of a fight. And even though he's a more inexperienced fighter, he's not going anywhere.
Oh, good counter right hand. I think Williams has a lot of natural talent to thank for going this far deep into the 6th round of a 6-round fight, and obviously remaining competitive. This is a tough one to score, but he's obviously been tired for the majority of the last 2 rounds.
Right. And I think that has affected his punch output. Like we mentioned earlier, maybe if he was in shape and made weight, maybe he would have ended the fight when he put Perry on the ground earlier.
But both guys looking impressive.
Great counter right hand by Perry, followed up by a great combination. And then here comes Maurice Williams.
Nice combination, a little flourish there. I'm not sure it really did anything. But that one did.
Good right hand to the body by Perry. I like what he's doing. He's chopping at Maurice's body and trying to slow him down. He's the young lion, and Perry's job is to slow him down, and it looks like that's what he's working on, going to the body.
Perry is so crafty about it too. That's what makes him really impressive. He's a thinking man's fighter, you can tell.
Yes, he is. Oh, great left hook to the body.
Those are the kind you're going to feel for about 3 days, at least.
Yeah, they're bringing it in there. I've got sweat and spit flying all over me.
Yes, that's one of the many pleasures of sitting ringside. We only have 10 seconds left here in this bout. 6 rounds. Junior middleweights, and they are finishing with fury. That is it. The full 6 rounds. Maurice Williams versus Abel Perry. We're going to have the judges' decision coming up. We are back. 6 rounds in the junior middleweight division. We now go up to ring announcer Gerald Whalen for the decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, the co-main event of the evening, brought to you proudly by Quantum CBD H2O, goes to the scorecards. Judge Mike Bauer scores the bout 58-55, Williams. Judge Gary Ritter scores the bout 58-56, Perry. And Judge Sarah Atwood scores the bout 57-56. For your winner by split decision, Maurice the Bounty Hunter Williams.
Maurice Williams narrowly pulling out the split decision against veteran Abel Perry. Interesting fight, understandably tough to score. Do not go away. Our main event, the Road to Redemption, Bo Gibbs Jr. back in the ring for the first time since his shocking upset in his last bout. The main event, Bo Gibbs versus Dennis Knife Chief, coming up. Stay with us.